Our story begins in Mr. O's house, where Lisa was helping her mother, Mrs. Jian, clean the garden. While they were chatting, Mrs. Jian asked her daughter, "Lisa, what do you think studying will be like in the rich kids' school?" Lisa was surprised by her mother's question and replied, "Why are you asking all of a sudden?" Mrs. Jian answered, "Come on, just answer without too many questions." Lisa said, "I think it will be good." After about half an hour of work, Lisa and Mrs. Jian finished cleaning. Then Mrs. Jian said, "Lisa, I have a surprise for you." Lisa smiled, excited. "What is this surprise?" Mrs. Jian said, "Close your eyes first." Lisa closed her eyes, feeling eager. They entered the room, and Mrs. Jian started counting. "Open your eyes at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. When Lisa opened her eyes, she was surprised to see the O school uniform. She said, "But the school fees are high, we can't afford it." Mrs. Jian reassured her, placing her hand on her shoulder. "Don't worry, I spoke with Mr. O, and he agreed. Plus, your high grades helped you with that." Lisa hugged her mother and thanked her many times. Meanwhile, our handsome, cool hero was with his friends Chaniol, Kai, and Suho, along with their girlfriends at the racetrack. There were Sihun and Suzy, Kai and Crystal, Suho and Irene, while Yuna loved Chaniol and would do anything to be with him. The race began with a bet that the loser would spend a night at the club. As usual, Suho was the victim, leading them to head to the club after the race and start drinking until they were drunk. On the other side, Jenny, Rosie, and Jisoo, Lisa's friends, were excited to hear about Lisa's transfer to their school. After having parted ways in high school, they went shopping for school supplies in the same style but different colors. After shopping, they visited Lisa at home, where they exchanged hugs and kisses. Then Jenny pulled out what they had bought, which were different colored wallets for each of them. Lisa said, "I have my supplies, there was no need to." But Jisoo interrupted her, "Don't say that, it's just an expression of our joy." After a moment of silence, Jenny suggested, "How about going to the club to kill the boredom?" The others responded excitedly, "Great idea." But Rosie interrupted, saying, "But, we shouldn't be late for school tomorrow." The girls replied with a sigh, "Okay, Mom," face with tears of joy. The girls set out for the club, and coincidentally, they went to the same club where the boys were. The girls didn't notice them, but Kai said, "Look at the girl with black hair, Jenny, how attractive she is." Meanwhile, Suho thought, "Oh my god, the girl with purple hair, Jisoo, she's stunning." Chaniol said, "I'm going for the girl with red hair, Rosie, she's mine." But Sihun interrupted them, saying, "Where are you going, guys? I'm tired, I want to go home." While Suzy smiled, thinking that Sihun hadn't talked about the girls. Kai said, "You're such a moment killer." Crystal stormed out in anger, followed by the others. As it neared 11 p.m., the girls parted ways after saying their goodbyes. Lisa returned home at midnight, waking Sihun from the noise she made while sneaking into the house. He saw her and said coldly, "Where have you been?" Lisa replied, "Tipsy, oh, Mr. O, talking to the maid's daughter." Sihun ignored her while Lisa went to her room to hug her mother in sleep. Sihun woke up first to take his shower and then have breakfast. As for Lisa, her mother, Mrs. John, needed 10 attempts to wake her up before resorting to pouring a bucket of water on her, causing Lisa to wake up startled and scream, "Where's the fire? Where's the fire?" Mrs. John laughed and said, "You're going to be late for school." Lisa happily replied, "Oh, finally I get to go to school and see my friends." After breakfast, Lisa left her room to say goodbye to her mother and found Sihun and Mrs. O having breakfast. Just as she was about to leave the house, Mrs. O called out, "Wait, Lisa, Sihun is going with you." Mrs. O likes Lisa. Sihun then spat out his juice in a funny way. Mrs. O sharply asked, "Sihun, what's wrong?" He replied, "Nothing, nothing." In the car, Sihun told Lisa, "Don't tell anyone you're poor." She asked, "What should I say then?" He answered, "Just say you're my cousin." Lisa muttered, "What arrogance." Sihun responded, "What did you say? I didn't hear you well." She replied, "Nothing." When they arrived at school, Lisa spotted her friends waiting for them and ran to them. Suzy saw Lisa getting out of Sihun's car and thought to herself, "Isn't that the girl from the club?" What was she doing with Si-hoon? The bell rang and everyone headed to class, except Lisa, who went to the principal. He said, "You're the new student." She replied, "Yes, sir." The principal then called teacher Sunmi to take Lisa to her class. Upon entering the classroom, Lisa waited by the door until teacher Sunmi arrived, who said, "Good morning, I hope you all have a great school year." She then invited Lisa to come in and introduce herself. Lisa said, "Hi, I'm Lisa, I hope you take care of me." Suzy replied mischievously, "We'll take good care of you." Sunmi then said, "Sit with Jisoo." After a while, Chanyeol entered with Kai and Suho. When Chanyeol spotted Rosie and the girls, he exclaimed loudly, "Oh, Kai, aren't those the girls from yesterday?" Kai eagerly asked, "Where?" "Where?" Chanyeol pointed at them. Soho and Kai said together, "We're going to have so much fun." During lunch, Suzy started causing trouble by putting her foot out to trip Lisa while she was getting her food. Lisa fell to the ground and angrily said, "Are you blind?" Suzy pushed her back and replied, "Watch your words." Lisa slapped Suzy, prompting Si-hoon to run over, saying, "Lisa, have you gone crazy?" She responded, "But she started it." The principal arrived and said, "On your first day, you're already causing trouble." Suzy pretended to cry, saying, "Sir, she slapped me." The principal replied, "One more problem and you'll be expelled." Lisa's friends arrived late to see what was happening. Lisa left the cafeteria heading to the bathroom with the girls, while Suzy was in Si-hoon's lap smiling wickedly. She said to Crystal, Aaron, and Yuna, "I'm good at acting, aren't I?" Crystal asked, "But why did you do that?" Suzy replied, "I saw her getting out of the car with Si-hoon." Aaron said, "Remember last night, we'll make her and her friends regret it." While Lisa was crying, she said, "I knew this school was bad, why did I come here?" Rosie replied, "It's okay, Lisa, everything will be fine." She then told them about what happened with Si-hoon in the car that morning. The bell rang for everyone to return to class, and when Rosie entered, a bucket full of ketchup fell on her, making everyone laugh except Chanyeol, who rushed over to her, concerned, "Are you okay?" Rosie answered, tears in her eyes, "Thanks, I'm fine." Rosie left, followed by Chanyeol, while Yuna was fuming with anger. As for Lisa and Jisoo, they cleaned up the mess while Jenny helped Rosie change her clothes. Meanwhile, Chanyeol wondered why he had rushed to her. The school day ended, and everyone headed home. Mrs. John asked, "Lisa, how was your day?" Lisa replied pretentiously, "Oh, it was good, Mom, just some introductory classes." "Do you need help with anything?" Mrs. John said, "No, dear, go get some sleep, I'll let you know if I need anything." Lisa answered, "Dia, Mom," and went off. Meanwhile, Suzy, Aaron, Yuna, and Crystal were planning for the next day. Lisa woke up feeling broken because of what was happening to her at school. She went through her daily routine and got dressed to go out and meet Jeannie on her way. Lisa forced a smile and said, "Good morning, Jeannie." Jeannie replied, "Good morning, Lisa. How are you?" Lisa answered, "I'm fine." When they arrived at school, they met Kai and Suho. Kai smiled and said, "Good morning, girls." Jeannie thought, "What a charming guy." Lisa replied, "Good morning." Jeannie said, "Do you know him to greet him? What if he's a creep?" Kai asked in surprise, "Who are you talking about?" Soho laughed and said, "Looks like you found someone who isn't fooled by your innocent acts." Kai chuckled, "Shut up, I want to be your friend if that's okay." Jeannie answered, "Yes, there's a problem." Lisa asked, "Jeannie, what's wrong with you today?" "Kai, it's fine." Then Chanyeol came in and said, "Good morning, what's going on?" Lisa replied, "Jeannie, Kai, Suho, and I want to be friends." Chanyeol said, "I want to join too. By the way, how is Rosie?" Lisa responded, "We didn't talk to her yesterday, sorry." Soho laughed and said, "I smell a lover here." Chanyeol ignored Suho and said, "Let's go to class." They entered the classroom together, which made Crystal jealous, prompting her to go tell Suzy what happened. Suzy replied, "How dare those idiots." Yuna said, "The important thing is, everything is ready." Aaron added mischievously, "We're just waiting for school to end, you'll have a night worse than hell." They returned to the classroom to find Jisoo and Rosie had arrived, while Sehun was sleeping at the table. Lisa approached him and said, "How are you?"